It seems that being social media famous is something that almost everyone is trying to accomplish these days. But even though everyday people are on social media trying to get famous, there are tons of celebrities that could have millions of followers if they wanted, but don't because they refuse to have social media accounts. But also, with all the shit that goes down on social media, maybe they're onto something. I'm gonna be listing the top 10 celebrities that refuse to be on social media and why. Starting off with number 10, we have Jennifer Lawrence. Since Jennifer Lawrence is one of the hottest women in Hollywood right now, she would have millions of followers if she were to make an Instagram account. But she refuses to have any form of social media because of how the internet has scorned her in the past. Saying in an interview, quote, "The idea of Twitter is so unthinkable to me," she said at The Burt Show. Continuing, quote, "I'll never get Twitter. If you ever see a Facebook or Instagram or Twitter that says it's me, it's not me. It's because the internet has scorned me so much that I feel like it's the girl in high school that I'm like, oh, you want to talk about her? Yeah, I'll do that. Take my hoops off. I'm ready to go." And considering the amount of success she has had in her career so early, it makes sense that along with the millions of fans that she gained, she also gained a lot of haters as well, unfortunately. Up at number 9, Scarlett Johansson. Scarlett is another person that could increase her fame and fortune by having an active social media account, but refuses to do so. Telling the Huffington Post, quote, "I don't have a Facebook or Twitter account, and I don't know how I feel about this idea of now I'm eating dinner, and I want everyone to know that I'm having dinner at this time, or I just mailed a letter and dropped off my kids. That to me is a very strange phenomenon. I can't think of anything I'd rather do less than have to continuously share details of my everyday life." And from that point of view, I can totally get what she's saying. Like, it's hard to know what to post on social media. So for me, it kind of just ends up being a lot of pictures of myself, and then I kind of look like a little bit of a narcissist. I'm not, I promise. I just literally don't know what to put on my Instagram. Up at number 8, Emma Stone. Emma is another person that has no interest in having social media accounts, but her reasoning is a bit different, saying that she mainly just doesn't need the validation she feels that people crave on social media. She told the LA Times, quote, "It's that need to be liked, that need to be seen, that need to be validated in any way, through no one that you know." And so people ask the question about fame or what it feels like, and it seems like everybody knows what it feels like. It seems like everyone's cultivating their lives on Instagram or in different forms of social media, and what picture looks best of their day. And I totally get what she's saying. People stress out about their social media accounts, but at the same time, you know, like, who does the average person really need to impress? And why are you stressing out so much about how your feed looks? You know what I mean? It's just the everyday unnecessary stress of trying to project your life into the world. In at number 7, Sandra Bullock. Sandra is another star that doesn't want to be on social media because she doesn't want to show her followers a picture-perfect version of her life that isn't true. Talking to the UK Times on the matter, she said, quote, "We're not representing our lives truthfully. Like when you're yelling at your child, you're not taking a selfie of you being a horrible parent." With her highlighting that on social media, we rarely see both sides of the coin. She then spoke about how she doesn't like the negative impact social media might have on her children's lives, saying in the same interview, quote, "People have these worlds they post and it's about projecting an image and getting likes." She continued, quote, "I read a great article about how there's a higher rate of depression because people are looking at everyone else's Facebook pages and seeing this picture perfect life. I think it's frightening for kids and young people developing who they are to have that false sense of acceptance based on an image. How do you unravel that when it's being pushed so hard?" And in my experience, this is 100% how it is. People are just comparing themselves and getting FOMO from all the places that they aren't, and it can really be a pretty toxic place to be. In at number 6, Jennifer Garner. Jennifer has said that Facebook is the only social media platform that she will have, elaborating in one interview with People, saying that she already has enough guilt about not responding to all her emails and texts. She wouldn't want more of that with social media. Then the second thought for her is, what would she even want to post? Saying that she doesn't feel that people would actually want to see anything that she would put out, saying, quote, "They don't want to see me and my mom friends at kindergarten drop off." Honestly, maybe I would a little bit, but I get what she's saying. Halfway through at number 5, Mila Kunis. Mila is another celebrity that is deliberate about the fact that she does not use social media, saying to the Daily Telegraph that what she does for her job and who she is as a person are two completely different things. Then continuing, it's really important for her to keep those two things separate. Saying, quote, "I don't want people thinking they know me to the point where they feel comfortable coming in my house without being invited. For security reasons, it just wasn't worth it. I'd rather have my privacy over anything." And I feel that this is really the biggest problem that we see with social media stars. Since they're so open with their audience, their fans think that they're friends, and then that can lead them to do inappropriate things like come to their homes and stuff like that. So from this standpoint, it makes a lot of sense to me that she's offline. Up at number 4, Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt says that she's not on social media because she's way too old to figure out how to use everything. Saying in an interview with Vulture, quote, "I'm like a dinosaur with social media, number one, but it's also not really an organic sort of fit for me. I can barely remember to text people back." And then she added in a reason that affects her career on screen, adding, quote, "I feel that my job is to persuade people that I'm somebody else. So if I reveal too much, then I'm doing my job a disservice in a way." And this reason makes a whole lot of sense to me personally. The point of being an actor is to embody another person. But if people are following you on social media, that might limit the characters that you're able to play, or it might make audiences less receptive to your work in general. But since her husband, John Krasinski, is very active on his social media accounts, maybe it's just a matter of time before she gets on them herself. In at number 3, Bradley Cooper. Bradley is another ultra famous actor who would have tons of social media followers if he were to be on it. But he doesn't think that it will be happening anytime soon, saying to OK that, quote, "It's a taste thing. I see the benefit of it, social networking for sure, and it's a great way to promote ideas and projects. But even though he sees the appeal, he's still against it." Adding, quote, "For me, maybe I'm old-fashioned. If I know so much about you and you're playing a character in a movie, then that's a lot of work I'm gonna have to do to forget who you are so I can believe the character and therefore enjoy the movie." So it sounds like his reasoning is really similar to Emily Blunt's, in the sense that they take their craft so seriously that they don't want social media to ruin their projects for their fans. Up at number 2, James Franco. James Franco is the only person on this list that was on social media at one point, but a little after a month of being on Twitter, he decided to delete it and never get it again. It seemed like he was enjoying himself on the app as he was really active, but after learning his tweets had effects on his business relationships, he decided to quit his time on the app, saying in an interview with David Letterman, quote, "My thought was that it's my Twitter, I can do whatever I want. But certain companies I work with contacted me about what I was saying," he explained to Letterman. Then another time he spoke about how much time is wasted on social media sites, saying, quote, "If you want to write, make the time." Adding, "We all have an hour or two a day that can be used for surfing Facebook or writing. No one is gonna beg any new writer to write." So this one looks like a mix of reasons, but good ones all around. And finally, number 1, George Clooney. George Clooney is not only an ultra successful actor, but he seems to just be an all-around fun guy that pretty much anyone would want to follow on social media if he had them, but he's against it, basically just calling it incredibly stupid for any celebrity to have, telling Esquire in an interview, quote, "If you're famous, I don't for the life of me understand why any famous person would ever be on Twitter. Why on God's green earth would you be on Twitter? Because first of all, the worst thing you can do is make yourself more available, right? Because you're trying to be available to everybody, but also Twitter. So one drunken night you come home and you've had too many drinks and you're watching TV and someone upsets you and you go, hey, and fight back. And you go to sleep and you wake up in the morning and your career's over." And honestly, here George is just like speaking the truth. Like, how many careers have ended solely because of Twitter at this point? I honestly think the number could genuinely be in the hundreds, and I'm not even exaggerating. So at this point, I think more celebrities should move off Twitter before they do something stupid that could potentially end their careers.
I think that the vast majority of celebrities are at least somewhat active on social media. We've got the stars who are always posting and keeping their fans updated with their lives, and then there are those who post here and there, not really making much effort on maintaining their social feeds. Harry Potter actor Daniel Radcliffe falls into a category altogether different, as he's one of the few celebrities who've opted out of using social media altogether. His Wizarding World co-stars Emma Watson, Tom Felton, and most recently Rupert Grint have all braved the inferno that is social media, so where's Daniel in all of this? Why won't Harry Potter join the club? Well, he gave his answer during an episode of Hot Ones just recently, and his reasoning is pretty sound and simple. So Daniel has said that he doesn't want to join social media because he'd get into too many fights with people. When asked about his absence from platforms like Twitter, the actor replied saying, quote, "I would love to say there's some incredibly well thought out intellectual reason for this, because I considered getting a Twitter, and I 100% know that if I did, you would all wake up to stories like Dan Radcliffe gets into fight with random person on Twitter," end quote. Continuing on, Daniel told Hot Ones host Sean Evans that when he was younger, he would look up comments about himself online, calling it a quote, "insane and bad thing to do," end quote. The actor also added, saying how he believes things like Twitter are sort of extensions of watching people comment about you, whether that be good comments or bad, saying that this is an unhealthy thing to do. As a person on the internet, I know firsthand how mean and hostile people can be in the comments and whatnot, so I completely understand where Daniel is coming from here. It's a really weird idea that strayed strangers on the internet have their opinions about you, and it takes a lot to get used to. Daniel also added to his ideas about the internet, saying, quote, "I don't honestly think I'm mentally strong enough, but right now I think I'm alright with that." In the past, Daniel has opened up about his struggles with being in the media and growing up in the public eye. In 2019, he shared his struggles with being a young man and coming out of the fame from Harry Potter, saying that he turned to alcohol to deal with things. During an interview with Sam Jones, Daniel talked about his struggle with his image and his sobriety, saying, quote, "The quickest way to forget about the fact that you're being watched is to get very drunk. Then as you get very drunk, you become aware, oh, people are watching me more now because I'm getting very drunk, so I should probably drink more to ignore that more." End quote. He also talked about the pressure of feeling the way he did about his fame, saying that there's the idea that since you have fame and fortune, you don't have the right to complain about these things and that you should be happy all the time, which is not true in the slightest. Daniel's whole life has basically been captured on film and in the media, so while it would be fun to see him online interacting with fans, it's understandable that he wouldn't want to join social media because he already struggles with his public image. I think that maybe having lived through his childhood and young adult years in the media, he definitely warrants some time off from the public eye. Though he still works in the industry, to be able to go home from a day of shooting, or even after a movie comes out, it must be nice to not even worry about what the world has to say because you're not online to see it. Recently, his Harry Potter co-star Rupert Grint jumped on Instagram where he revealed the name of his daughter Wednesday, and after having joined the platform, he was able to break the Guinness World Record for fastest time to reach 1 million followers on Instagram. Along with his internet success, Tom Felton, another Harry Potter star, has found some fame on TikTok. The actor has been active on the platform for some time now, but has recently begun making challenges for his fans to participate in, one of the most recent being the Potter Challenge, where participants are to give their best Malfoy impression of saying Harry Potter's name. Potter. These stars have been having a good time interacting with fans online, but the internet is not for everyone, and that's okay. That just means that we live for these interviews even more when fans are given the chance to receive new information and updates about their favorite celebrities without the stars having to brave the internet themselves.
Social media is an interesting place. There are a lot of good things that it has done for the world, but sadly there are a lot of depressing things that it has added as well. For most people, the allure of likes and comments keeps them addicted to these social media platforms. Many influencers, celebrities, and famous people have quit social media or taken breaks in the past just to help ease their mental health. So if social media is exhausting you, don't worry, you're not alone. Join us today as we count down all the influencers you didn't know quit social media. Coming in number 10, Chrissy Teigen. For a long time, Chrissy Teigen was using Twitter as a way to let out the odd joke or funny observation. However, she realized that in order to gain followers on that platform, she would need to toss her hat into the ring of criticizing celebrities. Most notably, she was a big critic of former US President Donald Trump. Because so many people hated Trump, it became easy for people to rally behind Chrissy. However, Chrissy has quit social media many times in the past. Her first break was in October of 2014 following some threats that she began receiving, and the second time came after she suffered a pregnancy loss. Although more recently she quit Twitter for about 3 weeks, citing that it no longer positively served her. Even with her fans being overjoyed to have her back though, Chrissy could not stay away from the controversy. Older hateful tweets from 2011 resurfaced showing that she had bullied Courtney Stodden. In returning back to social media, she made sure to apologize in full, but this apology also was met with backlash. Many believe that she was simply doing this to save her brand deals, especially considering the fact that she had already blocked Courtney when she decided to apologize. So who knows how long this stint will last before she decides to quit again. Coming in number 9, Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin is no stranger to controversy. Over the years he has displayed countless moments where he absolutely lost his cool. From bad run-ins with the paparazzi to getting kicked off of an airplane for playing Words with Friends. However, the reason he quit social media for a brief moment of time has nothing to do with Alec. After the controversy and backlash surrounding his wife Hilaria faking a Spanish background, Baldwin decided that he needed to take a break from Twitter. On January 18th, he tweeted out, "Twitter is like a party where everyone is screaming. Not much of a party, goodbye for now." Although even that didn't last very long, and before we knew it, Alec was back on Twitter sounding off about the US Congress. However, that certainly did not stop people from replying with funny things like, "Good luck with the Ancestry.com test, fingers crossed." God, I love Twitter. Coming in number 8, Cardi B. Much like Alec Baldwin, Cardi B has quit social media on a number of occasions. Back in 2018, she briefly deactivated her accounts after getting into a very heated argument online with rapper Azealia Banks. Then in February of 2019, she deleted her account entirely after she was criticized that she didn't deserve to win the Best Rap Album at the Grammys. However, before leaving that time, she made a video where she ranted about her nemesis Nicki Minaj that was filled with expletives. That video was also deleted in the process of her choosing to deactivate her account. That stint offline in particular though only lasted for 2 days before she came back and said, "Okay, so I'm back from retirement to announce I have a brand new song coming out Friday at midnight with Bruno Mars, #2 Grammy winning artists." So a little shade thrown in there. Coming in number 7, Lorde. When the song Royals came out, Lorde was the talk of the town. However, upon leaving social media, she revealed that she felt like she was losing her free will. She decided to step back from Twitter and Instagram because it caused her a massive amount of stress. During an interview, she went more in depth about this decision and said, "Part of what made me peace out on social media, apart from feeling like I was losing my free will, was the massive amounts of stress I was feeling about our planet, about systemic racism, and about police brutality in this country." According to the Daily Mail, Lorde purged her Instagram account back in May of 2018. That being said, Lorde did recently put out a new song called Solar Power, but even in doing so, she has still yet to update any of her social media posts. Coming in number 6, Pete Davidson. Ariana Grande and Pete Davidson began dating in May of 2018 before either had confirmed that they had broken up with their longtime partners. They got engaged shortly after, but split less than 5 months later in October. Not too long after that, in December of 2018, Pete decided to delete his Instagram page. In the process of doing that though, he worried a lot of people after posting an alarming message that read, "I really don't want to be on this earth anymore. I'm doing my best to stay here for you, but I actually don't know how much longer I can last. All I've ever tried to do was help people. Just remember I told you so." Soon after this, his ex Ariana Grande and friend Machine Gun Kelly checked in on him and found out that he was accounted for at the Saturday Night Live studio. There have also been several fan accounts that have been posting updates on Pete's behalf, but he is still yet to return to social media. Coming in number 5, Lizzo. If you're a fan of someone's music, it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be following their every move on Twitter. So for anyone who enjoys Lizzo's music, I hate to say it, but that's not actually her that has been tweeting. Back on January 5th, 2020, Lizzo announced that she was done with Twitter. In her final tweet, she said, "Yeah, I can't do this Twitter no more. Too many trolls. I'll be back when I feel like it." Lizzo then later said during an Instagram live before her concert in Australia that she took a DNA test and it turns out she quit Twitter, before adding that all social media is not created equal. Lizzo said that she would love to be on Twitter to connect with people who positively support her, but that it got to a point where she was seeing too much negativity. For now, Lizzo has put her management in charge of putting out tweets for her, but I don't think that they're doing such a good job. Her last tweet was April 22nd, 2020, so it's been a while. It's been a while. Okay. Coming in number 4, Hailey Bieber. Well, we almost had 2 Baldwins on this list, but alas, Hailey married Justin, so I will respectfully refer to her as Mrs. Bieber. Hailey has yet to return to Twitter since leaving the platform, and during a vlog with psychiatrist Dr. Jessica Clemens, Hailey opened up about the amount of trolling that she received and how the app's toxic environment ultimately led her to leaving for good. While speaking with Dr. Clemens, she said that the body, looks, and behavior comparisons that she received upon dating Justin were just too much for her, adding, "I don't even have a Twitter anymore because there was never really a time where I would go on there and it didn't feel like it was a very toxic environment. The thought of even opening the app gives me such bad anxiety that I feel like I'm gonna throw up." And from the looks of it, she has yet to return because of this very reason. Coming in number 3, Kendall Jenner. Back in November of 2016, Kendall Jenner appeared to have deleted her entire Instagram account. Instead of fans seeing glamorous and fashionable photos of the model, they were met with a message that said, "Sorry, this page isn't available, the link you followed may be broken, or the page may have been removed." However, oddly enough, her Twitter and Facebook were still running. This break from Instagram though only lasted for about a week before she re-emerged and began sharing photos again. After what caused her to quit Instagram for a bit, Kendall told Ellen DeGeneres, "I just wanted to detox. I just wanted a little bit of a break. I would wake up in the morning and look at it first thing. I would go to bed and it would be the last thing I looked at. I felt a little too dependent on it, so I wanted to take a minute." Which is pretty good advice. Coming in number 2, Kanye West. Now it is possible that Kanye decided to take a page out of Kendall's book and go off social media to rest and recharge for a while. Following a lot of attention-seeking tweets and pro-Trump rants, Kanye deactivated his social media on October 5th, 2018. A source close to him told People magazine, "Kanye got to the point where he realized his rants were becoming unhealthy. This is why he deleted his account," adding, "When he gets into these Twitter rants, it's very difficult for him to stop. It's like an obsession and it actually affects his life. He knows it's not healthy, so he wants to take things down a notch." However, Kanye would eventually return a week later, posting a photo of him hugging President Trump. Okay. Last but certainly not least, on our number 1 spot, Ariana Grande. After her then fiance Pete Davidson deleted his Instagram account, Ariana decided to first turn off her IG comments and then tweet out, "The energy you put out is exactly what you get back. Please create a beautiful life for yourselves." And after a fan happily posted that Ariana was still on Snapchat, she clarified her reason for taking a break and said, "Yeah, I'm probably gonna post on there for a little while and take a breather from Twitter and IG for a little. Just sometimes can't help but bump into some negative that really can bum you out, and it's not worth it honestly. Promised I'd always tell you I love you so much, be well and happy." That being said, it was just 2 months later, and by the end of September, her IG comments were turned back on and Ari was back to her regular posting schedule.